What's going on, everyone? Welcome and thanks for stopping by. Today, I want to talk about one of my favorite topics over the years, and that has to be the Nintendo Switch 2. The Nintendo Switch is one of my favorite consoles of all time, and over the years, we've had so many rumors about a Nintendo Switch Pro, an upgraded Switch. It's just been constant. And if you've been in my channel, we bounced around several videos in the past around this, but now it's the Nintendo Switch 2. The rumors seem to be very legit, and so I want to talk about a few things that I want out of Nintendo's next console. Now, before we get started, if it's your first time here, be sure to subscribe, like the video if it's something that you're interested in, and if you have anything you want out of Nintendo's new console, be sure to let me know in the comments below. So like I said before, we've been spending a few years now talking about and speculating on what Nintendo will do next. For a long time, who's a Switch Pro? Will we get an upgraded Switch with slightly more powerful hardware? Will we get something that can run some of these ports with more efficiency? After the years of rumors and reliable resources swearing it would happen, it never came. We did, however, get the Nintendo Switch OLED, and it had all the great upgrades you want to see out of a mid-cycle refresh. A nice OLED screen, thinner bezels, better build quality, and a usable kickstand unlike the original Switch, but the internal hardware remained the same. And we all wanted to see Zelda in higher resolution and better frame rate. We all wanted new ports of our favorite video games being released every year, and personally, I desperately wanted to connect the Switch to my TV and have games look and run decently. But unfortunately, we did not get that. Games like Pokemon and some of the other ports that we've seen over the past couple years have really struggled on the aging hardware, and it's unfortunate to see, but enough complaining about what could have been. Let's move on to what's coming. Now it's 2023. And there's been no shortage of rumors about the next Nintendo Switch console. It looks like devs have dev kits, and it seems to be it's actually gonna be a Switch 2, and it will probably be debuting next year. With an announcement to come probably somewhere in the middle of the year, I'm guessing. At least that's what some of the speculation seems to think. I was curious myself if Nintendo would change things up and go back to a traditional console, but it looks like they are indeed rolling with the Switch's success. Now, this makes a lot of sense considering all the copycats of the Switch that are out these days. The Steam Deck, the Rogue Ally, are handheld gaming machines that performance-wise definitely leave Switch in the dust. But if Nintendo can improve on the performance of their hardware, maybe add some bells and whistles to what already is my personal favorite console of all time, then we may just have something truly special on our hands. Because that hybrid gimmick that Nintendo decided to do with the Switch really hit, sold gangbusters, and I love to see it improved upon for the next Nintendo console. Now let's get down to the specifics and let's talk about the things that I really want to see out of Nintendo's next console. First, I definitely want to see improved power across the board, but not at the cost of good battery life. So the Steam Deck and the Ally both seem to not be fazed by the lack of battery life they provide in some of the games that are more resource heavy. I think Nintendo needs to put the effort into finding the right balance there. Perhaps, though, the solution for that is using the dock as an external GPU of sorts and allowing the system to pull more power when on a charger and connected to an external display. This would keep battery life solid in handheld mode, but allow players to pull as much performance as possible from the system for long play sessions at home. I think this is a great way to strike a balance between high performance and the convenience of long battery life. We all want this, but I understand that's easier said than done, and this would seem kind of out of character for Nintendo, who wants to keep things simple and straightforward for all players. Adding that extra layer of complexity is not really Nintendo style, but we'll see what happens. Next up on the list, I definitely want the Joy-Con drift and overall issues with the Joy-Con just fixed. I love the Joy-Con. They have so much technology inside them, and when they work, they're fantastic, but Joy-Con drift was far too common and way too much of an issue for Nintendo not to address it. I don't need to say too much more on it. We all know what it is, and we can all agree that it was absolutely terrible and needs to be addressed in the next gen. Now, next up on the list, I think backwards compatibility is super important. The Switch has managed to build one of the all-time greatest gaming libraries, and I for sure want to be able to return to these games on the next console. Some of these games can be played for hundreds and hundreds of hours, so being able to return to some of my all-time favorites is absolutely essential for the next Switch. Switch, and I sure hope Nintendo understands that. Luckily, Nintendo has been pretty great about this in the past, despite what some people online have said. Consoles like the Wii U, the Wii, the 3DS, the DS, the GBA, the Game Boy Color, they've all had great backwards compatibility that just works so well. So I don't think that it's out of the question, but some of the rumors have raised into question whether backwards compatibility will be part of the next Switch. So we'll see what happens, but I definitely want to be able to play things like Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild and some of the great JRPGs like Xenoblade on the next gen Switch. Now, one last thing, and this is a bit of a small list, but things that I really wanted to concentrate on. There are many more features that I'd love to get into, but the last thing I want to talk about is a solid launch lineup. The Switch came out of the gate with Breath of the Wild, and what a way to kick things off. It didn't matter that we had to wait on more releases, because if you were like me and many of my friends, it was impossible to pull us away from Zelda for a long time. I have confidence that there are some things that are waiting on the sideline for the launch window of the next console, things like Metroid Prime 4 that was announced several years ago, a new 3D Mario, which we haven't really had since Odyssey, which came out the year the Switch launched, Wind Waker and Twilight Princess remasters, among many other things that I think have been rumored to be in development for a long time. I think a lot of these things could launch in that window of the next console, and I think if Nintendo launches with something big to kick things off, then we can really appreciate what this new console has to offer, and it will entice more people to run out and grab it. Anyway, that's it for me. That's what I hope to see out of the next Nintendo Switch, and hopefully we hear something from Nintendo soon. I'm sure we will, probably not until next year, but I love the hype and the lead up to a new console. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you want from the next Nintendo Switch, and until next time, I'm out.